Alright, so today we're going to be talking about the how to make a histogram. First, you got to realize what the difference between bar graph and histogram is. So here's a bar graph, gray, and a histogram is in yellow. So there are a few differences. You all are familiar with a bar graph, but the difference is so a bar graph is just extremely categorical, which means it compares categories. So the category here is favorite pet and pets. A histogram compares frequency and intervals. So you can see there's no categories on my x-axis for a histogram. It's just intervals, and they're equivalent intervals. If I count 0 to 9, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 10 numbers in that interval. So if that's 10 numbers, then 10 through 19 has to include 10 numbers. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So that's 10 numbers. So 20 through 29 has to include 10 numbers. So 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So 10 numbers. So all those have to include, all these intervals have to include 10 numbers. And then another difference is, so in a histogram has frequency. So how much does something occur in that interval? So from 0 to 9, 4 CDs, 4 people own intervals. 4 people own 0 to 9 numbers of CDs. 3 people own 10 through 19 number of CDs. So for a bar graph, it's just extremely categorical data. So cat, how many people like cat? 8. Exactly 8 people like a cat. Where in a histogram, 4 people have any range of 0 to 9. So that means 4 people could have 0 CDs, 4 people could have 9 CDs, or one person could have 9, another person could have 2, another person 3, another person have 4. So it's a variety in that same frequency. An interval, where a cat, a dog, 12 students have a dog, exactly 12. Our favorite pet. Their favorite pet. Fish, 3 students have a favorite fish as a pet. So that's the difference between a histogram and a bar. How you're going to identify it is that a bar graph, see this space right here? A bar graph has space in between the bars. Histogram, if you look, there's no space in between the bars. So that's how you identify histogram and bar graph. If you don't identify the intervals right away between categories, it's the spaces in between the bars as well. So that's bar graph versus histogram. So again, a histogram is a bar graph that shows the frequency of data values in intervals of the same size. Emphasis on the same size again. Remember, all of these were in intervals of 10. The height of the bar represents the frequency of the values in the interval. Okay? So again, frequency and intervals are important. So the first thing we're going to do is make a frequency chart. So it's kind of like, it starts off with a T-chart, and it has your intervals on one side and the frequency of those intervals on the other. So make sure your intervals are equivalent. So if I talk about the siblings right here, so my lowest is 1, my highest is 3. I want my equivalent interval. So if I count by 2s, that's 1 to 2, that's 2 numbers. 3 to 4, 2 numbers. 5 to 6, 2 numbers. I can do those intervals. So 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6. And then I know I can stop at 5 to 6 and I'll just continue because 6 is my highest number. So you could do different intervals as long as they're equivalent numbers. So I could have chose 1, 2, 3, 3 numbers, and then chose 4, 5, 6 with 3 numbers in those intervals. I just chose to count by 2s. So if I'm going to label the frequency here, so how many occur, or 1 and 2? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 occur. 7 have 1 to 2 siblings. So 3 to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 5 to 6 is just 1. So that is your frequency chart. You can pause this at any time and try it. So like pause it and try it for the next one. Pairs of pants. Right here. So give it a pause. Try to make your own frequency chart. So I'm going to start with my T chart, and then it's easier if I type it. So I have intervals, and then I have frequency. So I'm going to look at my numbers and see what intervals I can do. So the lowest one is 4, and the highest one is 10. Let's see what counting by threes gives me. So if I start at, let's start at 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, 1, 2, and then 3, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, 8. So again, I'm counting by threes. And then 9, 10, 11. And you could easily count it by 2s or 4s. So I just did 3s because it gives me a decent amount of intervals to work with. So next you have to count. So 0 to 2, how many occur in 0 to 2? So you have 0. How many occur in 3 to 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you have 8. How many occur in 6 to 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, 8 again. How many occur in 9 to 11? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4. And I couldn't, in this interval right here, I'm going to do a yellow. In this interval right here, I couldn't just do 9 to 10 because 10 is my highest number. You have to keep the interval count of 3 going if you choose that to be your number that you're counting by. So that's why I had to end at 11. So that's your frequency chart. Now we're going to take a frequency chart that they've given to us already and make it into a histogram. So the frequency table shows the number of laps the people in a swimming class completed today. Display the data in a histogram. So you have your frequency chart. You have the number of laps as your intervals and the frequency of those laps. So what I did was I labeled. So you want your frequency to be your vertical axis, and then your horizontal axis is your number of laps. So all you're going to do is label what your frequency chart tells you. So I'm going to label my number of laps, my intervals. So I have 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 9. Again, these are given to me, so I'm just going to write them down. And then 13 to 15. And then my frequency, my highest number is 11, so let's see if I can count by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Alright, so we got it. So now when you make your bar graphs, make sure they're connected so it identifies as a histogram. You're measuring that frequency. So 1 to 3 is a frequency of 11, so here's my bar graph, not completely straight. 4 to 6 is 4, so I'm going to connect it with my 1 to 3. 7 to 9 is 0, so I'm just going to make sure I have it. And then 10 to 12 is 3, so I'm going to go up to 3. And then 13 to 15 is 6, so I can go up to 6 and go down. So So there is my bar graph, and you can draw or color in your bars too if you would like, but there's your histogram. There's your bars in your histogram. Make sure your bars are connected, and then there you go. So you can even title it to number of laps in swimming class today if you would like as well. Let's do one more. So the frequency table shows the ages of people riding a roller coaster. Display the data in histogram. So again, frequency is your vertical line, your ages and your intervals are your horizontal axes. And then all you're going to do is label what you're given because they're giving you the frequency chart. Alright, so I have 10 to 19. 20 to 29, 30 to 39, 16 is your highest. I'm going to count by twos. 2, 4, 6, 8. Alright, so again, so 10 through 19 is 16, so I'm going to go up to 16, make my bar graph. 20 through 29 is 11, make sure it's in between 10 and 12. We have 5 in between 4 and 6. Next one's 2. Connect them, make sure they're connected, and then go up to 4. And there you go. So that's your histogram. So you're going to get to, if you do this online, so you're going to get to where you have to type in your own, type in your own interval and recognize like what your interval is counting by. So if this interval right here starts at 10, I know my previous interval had to end at 9. Then you can get your count from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you count between 10 numbers and then you tally, and then you come here and you move the box to what you tallied for that interval as well. And it might be helping to look at the histogram that they have actually given you. But that's your video for this week over histograms. You can pause it and rewatch as many times as you want. Also rewatch the other videos that I posted. Let me know.